My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
Hey, folks, have you ever heard of that word compliance? Well, if you are in the capital raising space, that should be a word that you're very aware of. The question is, are you actually doing it? Are you doing it properly? Are you doing it all the time? What are the risks of not being compliant? Well, today we got a real special treat because Gene Trowbridge is on the call. Gene is very, very experienced in real estate. First, I believe he spent 2 decades as a real estate syndicator himself. Then he decided to go back to school, get a law degree, or maybe he had it already, I'm not sure, but he decided to start focusing on that side of things with law and helping people stay compliant with their raises. So, Gene, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Well, thank you, Dave. I think you had that right. 20 years as I came from being a commercial real estate broker to a syndicator, and then at 45, I went to law school, and I've been doing that ever since. So I've had about 50 years in the syndication business, one side or the
other. Yeah,
I used to be about 6'3". I'm about 5'6" now. So it'll beat you down if you don't do it right. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. We don't want to spend too much time on the backstory, but why did you decide to make that switch at age 45?
Well, I think 2 things that I find I talk about all the time to my clients is that, number one, the care and maintenance of investors can get overwhelming. And the last year I was full-time in it, I sent out about 1,867 K1s. And in those days, it wasn't computerized. It was a lot of work.
AI wasn't helping you out that much at that point.
No, that was a lot of work. And I thought I was going to have to grow my business if I was going to stay around, and I didn't really want to. And secondly, there's always more risk than someone thinks about.
I think a lot of people have realized that the last few years.
Just in the last... since 2020, basically, no one counted on COVID. No one counted on the interest rate change in 2022. So and prior to that, the Tax Reform Act of this and the that and the this and that. There's always more risk when you get into the deal. And I just thought I'd had enough of it. So that's it.
Yeah. Well, that's the beautiful thing. I mean, you bring to the law practice so much practical hands-on experience of those 2 decades doing what your clients are currently endeavoring to do. You really understand them from the inside out. So
I sure do.
So your clients, let's talk about some of your newer syndicator clients. When they come to you, what are some of the things that they're looking for help with? And what do you kind of see going on that, aware or unaware, that they're kind of crossing the line with?
Oh, okay. Well, for first time a client comes to me, their question is, how do I advertise? That's the number one question. How do I advertise and find investors? So I have to go through the story of 506B and 506C and how that works. Okay. The second thing they're interested in is, how long do I have to raise money? And with Regulation D, the rule really is 1 year. So they didn't understand that. They didn't know how to find their investors, how to pull them out of their database or their, as we used to say, their Rolodex. How do they find?
I remember though. I used to have one of those, Beth.
And then I find that when I draft the documents, it's first time. So they really should read the documents. And you want to talk about compliance. There's my number one compliance issue with my clients.
Okay.
Do they read the documents? And if they read the documents, do they bother to take the time to reach out to me to have me explain what they don't understand? Dave, my fee is flat. I have a flat fee. I don't have a clock like most attorneys do. I don't care how many times you call me. I don't care how many times I call you. It doesn't change the money situation. So why don't they read this and then call me? I have no idea. That's one of the major mistakes that I find that they do. And then as we get into it a little bit more, given what's happened in the last 3 or 4 years, the compliance issue really becomes, how do I deal with the capital call? We're talking about, what does a first-time person need to know? Well, first of all, they need to know how do the documents talk about a capital call, because that's happening. And my top 4 by volume of deals, my top 4 clients haven't done a new deal in 2 years collectively. Because they're all dealing with capital calls and how to deal with the bridge financing and what do they do. A lot of deals that were done in 2001 and 2002 aren't going very well. And so until they can resolve everything that they have with their existing clients, they're not going to venture into the capital pool again. And it's just amazing how many times they call and ask me, and I'm kind of a jerk about it. I get this question I'm going to talk to you about probably more than any other question, and I write about it. It's in the PPM 3 different times in a box, bold.
Wow.
And the question is, Gene, I've got a guy who's got $500,000 coming out of an exchange. Can he buy interests in the LLC? And 3 times. The document says, to do a 1031 exchange, you need to get a deed in real estate. Give up a deed, get a deed. This is a partnership interest. This is an.
They don't get the deed. Yeah.
Doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
So as a jerk, I say, do you have your document in front of you? Well, let's get it. Let's go to page 8 and let's go to the bottom of page 8 and read this together.
Yeah.
And then I say, as an asshole, which may be the first time you've read this, but this is what it says.
Let me ask you a question, Gene, because that brings up an important point. So, number one, you're saying that these syndicator clients of you that have paid the big bucks or whatever bucks to get you to draft all of these documents, number one, they don't read them, so they don't really understand them. So then extrapolating that,
I know where you're going with that.
I'm going to guess that their investors don't read the darn things.
That's right.
And certainly don't get them explained to them.
Right.
So when that, heaven forbid, that capital call situation comes up, I'm guessing that's a huge surprise to a lot of their investors. Like, yes, really, I never heard of that, right?
And our document has a pretty nice flow. I mean, you can just simply do a capital call where we're going to call Dave. We need 6% of your original investment again to come in, and I'm reaching out to everyone. I can do that. And then it comes down and says, well, if that doesn't work, which generally doesn't, you can get loans from certain members who are already in the deal. Okay. And if that doesn't work, then the manager can make advances. And then if that doesn't work, we're going to scoot all the way down to Article 11.2 and says, if a capital call doesn't work, the manager has the right to take in new investors and sell more units to existing investors, and the units can have a priority of a superior return and liquidity. So we've got quite a lengthy plan on doing capital calls, but they don't.
But of course, nobody reads the damn thing, so
it's legal. And I used to have a partner. The first partner I've had a couple partnerships, was a lady by the name of Kim Taylor, great attorney, very helpful. Moved to Florida to get away from California taxes, or she'd still be with me today. And she and I spent 2 years taking to heart something that the Bar Association said: make your documents sound like plain English.
Wow. That would be a change. That would be
And so my documents, we're still working on it all the time. And if I get a lot of questions about the same clause and the same, how can I rewrite it so it's plain English but still has legal
Well,
authority?
here's the advantage I think you probably have in that, Gene, is you spent 45 years on planet Earth not being a lawyer first. So you've got like a logical brain. Somebody gets out of university, goes right into law. That's all they know, right? They don't know how to speak human anymore.
Well, Dave, do you think it's possible that when in my 20 years as a syndicator, I might have grabbed a document from the attorney and ran out and tried to raise money without actually having read this document first? Do you think that could have happened?
I doubt it. Not with you. Not with you, man.
I doubt it. No. So I've learned all that. So compliance, and then my new syndicator, as they go through, some of the compliance deals with, okay, I said I had to have all my money raised by November 5th. I'm not going to make it. How do I deal with that? Or they don't come to me. And they come to me and say, I'm still raising money. And I said, well, your document said you had to stop on November 5th. Well, yeah, I didn't raise all the money, so I just kept on going. So compliance with dates is kind of important.
Yeah.
And compliance with who can make the decisions. Because with the LLC that all the investors are in, all the members, there has to be a managing member. And the managing member is another LLC, and that's where the authority sits to run this LLC. And this is really important because if you're the syndicator, this is your document. The manager agreement tells the bank, tells the investors who has all the authority. And we kind of need to understand that.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
Zooming out a bit, Gene, I'm sure you've seen many, many cases of people, syndicators, especially newer ones, really screwing it up when it comes to finding investors, doing investor lead gen, basically soliciting online and doing all sorts of things. What are some of the dumbest things, without mentioning any names, you've seen people
I don't have to mention names. It's all encompassing. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the dumbest things is hiring someone to raise money for you and paying them a commission. That's illegal. The technical term is no transaction-based compensation can be paid to anyone who doesn't have a securities license. So, Gene, how do you get around that? You don't. You don't. Just don't do that. But, Gene, there must be other people who are. Yes, there are. As far as I know, not my clients.
So if somebody's doing a syndication business and they've got a quote unquote investor relations person, how does that work? Or how should that work? Or should that work?
The whole issue is, how do they pay them? Everyone wants to pay the person based on their effectiveness in raising money. And any way you do it, whether it's part of the fees, part of the promote, just a salary, if it varies based on how successful they are in raising money, we define that as a commission. And that's what is called a transaction-based compensation. And that
bonuses aren't allowed. No bonuses allowed there.
You can't do that. And that's all fine, subject to you getting caught.
Yeah.
So, and I tell my investors, well, there are business decisions or my clients, there are business decisions all the way down the line that you're going to make. But if you make this decision and the deal goes bad, the investors are going to come after you and the person that you paid, because that's the person who did the illegal stuff. They're not a broker dealer. They got paid so the investor can go after them
personally. Yeah.
And that'll get everyone in trouble.
Okay, so that's a big no-no, is paying somebody to raise capital for you by commission. What are some of the other dumb things you see people doing?
Yeah. putting their deal on the internet.
Yeah.
When they're doing a 506B, which is no general solicitor. Well, I'm not really selling my deal. I'm just telling people about me and what I do and my past. And yeah, you are.
Okay, well, then that brings up a really good point. And again, going back to your syndicator days and kind of remembering where you were back then, and then looking at the landscape today, especially with social media, what advice do you give syndicators, especially if they're in the 506B space where it's only supposed to be friends and family and blah, blah, blah? How can they let the world know what they're doing without crossing that line?
A lot of things you can do when you don't have an offering, because the rules talk about an offering or a contemplated offering. So if you're in the middle, you just close your last deal and you don't even know what your next deal is going to be, go out and tell people about you and your track record. Okay, you can do that. I think I'd like to. For my clients, I'd like to know what they're saying, but clearly you can do it because it's really no sale can be made for solicitation and advertising of a current or contemplated deal. I mean, you might argue, and I've heard other attorneys argue, well, a syndicator is always contemplating.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. We're always contemplating.
That's, yeah, please.
Prove it, though.
Yeah, please, you don't. But so when does to me, when does contemplating a new deal happen with my clients? When they sign the fee agreement with me. Dave, you go out and go out and get a letter of intent on the property. Is that a syndication? Not necessarily, right? And then now you're going to sign the purchase and sale agreement. Is that a syndication? Not necessarily. You could keep it, you could wholesale it, you could assign, whatever.
Basically, you got a leg to stand on there if something goes.
But the minute you walk into Gene Trowbridge's office and sign a fee agreement that says I'm going to hire Gene Trowbridge to do my securities documents, I think you got an offering. So that goes with the issue of pre-existing relationship. You said 506B is friends and family. No, not really. It's people with whom you have a pre-existing relationship. Pre-existing to what? Pre-existing to when you have an offering. So in my world, it's pre-existing to when you come to me and sign the fee agreement. Once you sign the fee agreement, it's like cuts off your database. Anyone in your database prior to that time is someone that you have a pre-existing relationship.
Now, is there any safety criteria there for defining what is a relationship?
Oh, yeah. You see, it's pre-existing substantive. There's a second word.
Okay, good. So what does that mean?
That means not just having your email in my database.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Like what's, I guess what everybody's looking for.
I know what it means because the SEC has defined it.
Yeah.
They've defined a substantive relationship as one where the sponsor knows the person to the extent that they know that they're accredited or not accredited, and they would have enough experience to be able to understand the risk in the investment. If I do that about you, like you and I we don't have a substantive relationship now. If I wanted to raise money, you're not someone I could go to because I don't have a pre-existing substantive relationship with you now. Maybe the next deal I will.
Let me ask you a practical question there, Gene, if you don't mind around
nothing
that.
Nothing practical.
So let's say we're between deals, we're between raises, we're in that safe space. And we meet somebody, we have a conversation, we do like a discovery call with that person, and they're interested in potentially doing a deal down the line. And we fill out the know your client, know your investor questionnaire with them and kind of get them in the database. Is that safe?
That's it. That meets the definition of substantive.
Perfect.
For the next deal. It does
not if I'm working on one right now.
For the deal I've got right now. And so you have to have some self discipline.
Yeah.
And take the risk. There's another thing of compliance that I just need. I have a bug about this, and I'm not being insensitive to you.
Mhm.
But most people are doing LLCs today, right? There's
A
no,
lot of people are doing funds too, but yeah.
well, funds too, but the document is an LLC.
Okay. Yep.
There's no such things as an LP in an LLC, and there's no such thing as a GP. Those are terms that belong to limited partnerships, and they're very specific legal terms, and there's liability attached to those names
Right.
that you don't have in an LLC. And I actually read 3 times. My clients have come back to me and said, my investor has read the documents and doesn't understand why he can't be an LP. Well, because you're doing an LLC. And an LLC.
So what is it if they're not an LP? What do we call
They're
them?
a member.
You're a member. Okay.
You're a member and you're the managing member. See, a limited partner can't vote.
Mhm.
Not vote. Okay. And in an entity, well, everyone's a limited partner, it's by definition a security because the general partner has all the control. So
Okay.
no argument. And a general partner has total liability. If things go wrong, you can go after the general partner. In an LLC, and why the LLC is so popular, a member can vote and doesn't lose their limited liability.
Okay.
And the manager has limited liability, doesn't have general liability. So that's why LLCs are the most popular way of doing things today. But I understand that the language and the nomenclature, everyone talks about
LPs and GPs.
you know.
But thank you very much thank you for clarifying it. That's important to know, right? Even if you use the other language.
Yeah, I try not to, and I try not to be too teacherish about it, but it is interesting when I find someone who knows better using the wrong terms. I mean, some of the gurus that are out there teaching this stuff just flat out teach LP and GP, period.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Gene, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing some insights from 20 plus years of in the trenches doing this stuff. And then,
yeah, we got about 6 months of it there.
and then however many years helping the rest of us stay compliant and get everything set up.
That's great.
I'm sure there's going to be some folks out there going, hey, that Gene guy gets it. That's the kind of guy I want to work with. If you want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that, Gene?
Well, Dave, thanks for asking. My website would be the best place, because at my website you can get a copy of my book. You can get into my YouTube channel. You can set up a consultation with me. My website is very simple. It's T is for Trowbridge, N for my partner, Nay, LLP. So it's TNLLP.com. And if you want to send me an email, you can just go gene@tnllp.com.
Fantastic. Gene, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome, Dave. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. Hope you learned something. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.